There we go, it's back. Awesome. Okay, guys, welcome to the Escape Gaming Masters. This is game number 2 between Nicov and TheViper. As we've already discussed, we had a problem with game 1 where the game crashed mid-game. The players decided that instead of replaying one game, they would make the series into a best of 3, which means that we would get to see more games, meaning that right now Nikov has the advantage with both players agreeing that Nikov was far enough ahead to justify giving him that first point. So now we're seeing a best of 3. Viper needs to win 2 in a row to win and knock Nikov out. Nikov needs to win 1 game here to knock the Viper out of the tournament, because this is the lower bracket. I'm joined once again by Nilford and T90, and we'll let T90 introduce the players in the Civs, because we didn't show the draft on the stream before.
All right, well, in the blue, we have the Viper. Now, obviously, guys, because it's the best of 3, now Viper needs to win the next 2 games to advance further on into the winner's bracket. He's playing as the Ethiopians. In the red, we have Nikov playing as the Incas, so we do have a non-mirror matchup. And this is a map that really intrigues me, Zach. I think we interviewed Viper, and, well, Nilly did as well, obviously. And we talked about Viper's strategy choice on this map. And this map, as you can see, there's not a lot of wood around these small islands. And there's also not a lot of fish in the middle. And normally on a standard water map, you would probably want to commit for water. But if there's only one deep fish close by, is it worth it? And Viper told us that he thought it was better to do his strategy, which was a fast castle, and then usually he would go with like either a sneak at nights or some fire ships, things like that. I wonder what Nikov will be doing. Zach, have you seen Nikov play this map before? It's possible. You've been casting all these games. I haven't been involved in all the days.
Well, basically, I mean, we've not seen Bog Island. We've seen one game on Bog Island this tournament so far. Because the maps are randomly chosen, Bog Island just hasn't really come up much. But bear in mind, both Nikov and the Viper played in Battle for Angkor, so Nikov has got quite a bit of experience on this map now as well, because he would have played it a few times in that Battle for Angkor tournament last month. So he should have been watching. He should have seen what the Viper did on this map, and that was, of course, the fast castle. And why is the fast castle possible? Why is it strong? Well, it's very difficult to wall this map, but also there's a lot of food. You get 3 rhinos, you get the water buffalo, which have 150 food each, you get the little box turtles if you want to fish them with your vills, but also I feel like players who make a dock and build a couple of fishing ships end up slower to the feudal age and maybe even the castle age as well by doing that, versus a player who's just going to focus purely on taking the natural food sources instead and having less vills taking the wood. Now, Viper's strat, as we've seen, the fast castle, it can be extremely powerful, and here playing as the Ethiopians, that kind of gives him another trick up his sleeve, and that is the bonus resources when he advances to the next age.
Yeah, that definitely is true. I'm so curious. I'm sorry. I'm watching Viper dock now in the middle.
Oh, he is.
And this is the opposite of what I was expecting. I was watching his wood line, and he has 6 villagers on wood now, which is more than you would do for a standard FC without a dock. Viper's just now taking his first rhino as well. Distinct differences between the 2 styles. If you look at Nikov's base, he has his 3rd rhino underneath his TC. He has all 3.
Yeah.
But Viper's doing something very different.
I'm really, really interested as to what the hell is going on at Nikov's base right now. I'm a little maybe confused. Why is he taking all rhino at the same time? There's a lot of food kind of rotting away here. But it shows that he really wants to take as much food as fast as he can. But I feel like he is being a little wasteful with this. Only 2 villagers gathering the rhino on the left, and there was still like 200 food on that. The one on the right being gathered by more, but I think it's a very clear difference. You see Viper actually making the dock, actually fishing. He's changing it up a little bit, and perhaps that's because he knows that Nikov will maybe anticipate his fast castle strategy, as it's already out there. Before, when he did it, it was a surprise, and I think the surprise factor helped him to get a real edge. Now, he's probably not relying on the surprise factor so much, and he's actually going to fish this one.
Yeah, I find that still very odd. I wonder if Viper is in his own head a bit, thinking exactly what you said. Nikov will know I'm going to do this. We're going to switch it up and try and get a good fish boom going. Nikov has already scouted this with his eagle, so he knows what's going on. And I really don't think it's going to be worth it for Viper in the long run if Nikov chooses to send out some fire ships or do anything aggressive on the water, because you have to see how far Viper travels for these deep fish. It's quite a long distance. And also, it'll slow his feudal age time.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in the interview after Viper won Battle for Angkor, we said to him, okay, so your strategy on Bog Island, how would you counter it? And he said, oh, well, I don't really know. No one could really have an answer as to how would you counter his fast castle strat. Now it looks like Nikov's going to do that fast castle strat, so let's see how the Viper actually handles this, because it's going to be maybe a little tough. Maybe the Viper is actually relying on the Ethiopians' eco bonus to actually put him in a stronger position this game.
Let me add some input here.
Sure.
Nikov wanted to go for very fast feudal age timing, but he forgot to have the second building. And therefore, he added another villager, dropped down to 495 food, and wasn't on food anymore. So after finishing the villager, he did send villagers back on food, dropped to 499, and then had to take another food, drop again, and then click up, and he lost like roughly 50 to 55 seconds, I would say, there with his feudal age timing.
That's pretty unfortunate for Nicov, because as we can see, he's not actually going to be going for that fast castle at all. He will be adding a second dock right now, and that means that he's looking for some very, very fast water aggression. Obviously, being up to the feudal age a minute faster or 50 seconds faster would have given him a huge edge there. But once he does hit feudal, he should be ready to go and start pumping out some galleys or fire galleys. Viper, of course, with 5 fishing ships in the middle of the map. They are very exposed right now. But then again, Viper is also on the way up to the feudal age, about 70%. The question is, what's he going to do next? He still has a lot of villagers taking food, and I'm wondering if maybe he's actually going to continue with his fast castle.
Yeah, I think Viper's going to have to address the middle. He's going to be up against 2 docks from Nicov. Nicov right now is going for fire galleys. So I think Viper is going to either have to just understand these fishing ships are going to need to run away, or he's going to have to fight this back. And obviously those fishing ships are far into the middle of this pond. So it's not going to be easy for him. I like what Viper has done. I feel like Nikov should do the same thing. If you look back at Viper's wood line, he has a nice little wall there so ships cannot get in. And that's a really good move from Viper.
Yeah, it's really important because that wall off is going to be protecting those vills, and it's so crucial to protect the wood on this map, because if you are going for ships, or just in general, it's so important to have a safe wood line, because wood is so valuable in the earlier stages of the game. So yeah, if you can't protect that, it's really rough. And the fact that the biggest wood piles and the safest wood, or the most reliable wood piles, are on the edges of the map, and that's where the ships can get to. Yeah, it's absolutely important to make sure he keeps that safe. So blacksmith market for Viper now. I wonder if Nikov spotted that. He has indeed. So he knows that the fast castle's coming in, and Viper's just kind of bluffing, I think. Originally, he tried to make this look like he wasn't going to do the fast castle thing. Now he's actually going to go ahead and do it anyway. And Nikov, it looked to me like he was going to try and do the fast castle thing, and he's ended up going into ships. So both players may be trying to mislead one another a little bit. But actually, we're going to see the fast castle from Viper and Nikov making the fire galleys. So this could be a strong position for Viper here if the previous games are anything to go by.
Yeah, I think Nikov needs to recognize this, and he needs to continue to send out form of water control. Because if Nikov has the map control, then Viper's Castle Age upgrade won't do a lot. Viper before has sent out sneak villagers in this situation, and he has made a knight, and then he's just forced the player to wall up and hide on a small little island. But in this case, I think Nikov needs to not make the mistake other players has made, and what he's doing is making demo rafts and fire galleys like crazy. Yeah, Viper's time, though, like you said, was definitely down to the Ethiopians, Zach, because that was
fast.
That was spot on. Like, his resources came in on the button at 800 food and 200 gold. So if he wasn't the Ethiopians, this would not have worked out. So Viper prepared for this.
It was fast, and I think that's the reason why he chose Ethiopians here. Of course, the Khmer would have been another great civ to do this with, since they don't need the buildings to click up. But look at this. Nikov with the demo raft breaking in on the left side, but Viper with a quick re-wall to keep him out for a bit longer and buy some time. But I'd like to note and point out to you guys that, okay, first of all, his fishing ships are all idle. None of them are working right now. And on the right side, Viper sent a forward villager to build a dock, and he's making some fire galleys now. So it looks like he is going to try and do the sneak, but Nikov with some fire galleys close by might spot this, and Nikov also walling up at home a little bit as well to keep his wood lines a little safer. Not completely safe, though, from a night rush if Viper builds a barracks.
Stable. This just got really interesting. If you look at the eagle from Nikov, it's actually at 1540. I might be a little bit behind you. I think that's what normally happens. The eagle's been walled in as the fires are trying to get into Viper's base. I like what Viper's doing. He's going with the demolition raft, and we could see a huge shot here, Zach.
Potentially. I mean, these demolition rafts used to be super strong. Nowadays, they've been nerfed a little bit, but in comes the rafts, and I think Viper just immediately going back. He's looking for the best angle possible, and that's kind of risky because these rafts now are quite low on health, and we also see demo rafts from Nicov as well. But now the Viper's in the Castle Age, I think this is really why he wants to go back here. He wants that war galley upgrade so that he can secure himself the fire ship and the demolition ship upgrades. But Nikov, I think he's got to throw everything at this now. I think he has to commit to the feudal age, he has to commit to making ships, and he has to really go hard on that ship production. Just try and stop the Viper getting a good number of fire ships out.
Yeah, the problem for Nikov now is that he's out of boars. So as the demos come in, there's no boars, there's no sheep, there's no natural food sources. He just has to continue to make farms, and it looks like he's going to be stuck in the feudal age for a while. So he's going to be producing on water up against fire ships and demolition ships while he just has the feudal age unit. It's not going to be easy for Nikov.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but whoa! Look at that! Both demolition ships going off at the same time. Massive destruction on the water here. And I loved seeing the demolition ships in action, and this is exactly what the Viper needs now to start to close this gap on the water and get the edge. Nikov, like we said, though, is actually throwing everything at this. He's not stopping production. The demolition rafts are coming out. The fire ships are coming out. But he is only on 2 docks. And like you said, he has no natural food left, so he has to start making farms. He can't fish because there's not much fish on this map. It's not really reliable or safe to fish on this map now. And that's a real problem for Nikov. There's a lot of farms right there, and that's a lot of wood that could be ships right now, helping him to push the Viper off water.
And Viper now has the fishing ships working again. He's sending them all back to the middle because he recognizes he has the water control. I mean, just look at these fire ships versus fire galleys, almost equal numbers, and demolition ships coming out as well. Not looking good for Nikov at this stage, Zach. I mean, he still needs time to get to the Castle Age, and it looks like, though he's producing and taking some good engagements, could see a huge demo.
Oh, it wasn't as big as I thought. I thought that was going to be huge, but it did lower a lot of these fire galleys' health, and that's going to mean that Viper should be able to take that fight now. I like Nikov's use of the villager to repair the fire galleys, but now it's a little bit of desperation from him. He's building a tower on this gold, and he's looking to defend that, but it's going to be really tough. I think Viper now should add his barracks and stable and start the knights. He's actually sending his villager through this fight to repair his... What?
No!
What was that?
Not the woman.
What was that?
Yeah. He tried to take a page out of Nikov's book. Nikov has been there repairing for I don't know how long with this one villager and doing a pretty good job. And then just a failure from Viper there. But still, I think Viper's in a good position. He's been in the Castle Age for longer. He can have those Castle Age eco upgrades. And he has the fishing ships working, and Nikov does not. So still Nikov about to click up, but still looking rough for him.
Also, you have to look at the farms for the players as well. Viper here, just 6 farms, and that's all he needs to keep villager production going. He doesn't need more than that. And that's it. That just shows you what he's doing right now. Everything else is on wood and gold. He's committed to the water right here, and it shows in his eco distribution. Nikov, on the other hand, had to seed so many additional farms to get to the Castle Age, but at least he's clicked up, and he's not GD'd. Most of the times we've seen Viper do this strategy, he's able to knock his opponent out before they get to the Castle Age. Now, clearly, Nikov is behind here, but if he reaches the Castle Age, there could still be some hope that Nikov can get back into this game, but it's going to be tough.
Well, yeah, you're definitely right. Nikov has done a great job. I don't think Nikov should have lasted this long, or at least I wasn't expecting it. Nikov has done everything right here. Now he's walling up his villagers on his wood line as the fire ship comes in from Viper. He might lose a villager, but he should clean up that fire ship. This is impressive from Nikov, even though Viper has been the most impressive and has been on top of it this game.
Yeah, he's been very dominant, but I'm interested to hear what Nilpford thinks. What can Nikov do once he hits the castle age to actually bring this one back? He could have some chance, right?
I think it's important to not lose any fire galleys or demo ships here for him now. At the moment, he's fighting very cost inefficiently, and just keep them in the docks. Yeah, you will lose 1 or 2, but just throwing your army now against castle age units, I think that's the wrong decision. So just camp, run around, try to avoid fights, and then try to be not as far behind as you could be if you wasted all your army in the start of castle age.
I have to say though, credit where credit is due. Nikov has had some great micro this game, really microing his fire galleys well, but he's calling GG now. I'm a little disappointed that he didn't wait until the castle age, but I think he's feeling maybe a little overwhelmed. The introduction of the war galley means that it's very difficult to defend these wood lines, because they're going to have the range which the fire ships simply don't have. And Viper, if you look at his eco, as we've said already, he's really just 100% onto the wood and onto the gold. So Nikov really going to be up against the wall here, and even if he hits castle, he really has no army to upgrade. Do you think it was the right call? I think maybe it was.
Are you well?
Oh, sorry,
I thought you were asking Nilly, but yeah. I do as well. I think the choice of strategies were very different there, and every time I've seen this map, it's always been Viper involved for some reason. But every time I've seen this map, Viper has done something like that. This time he added in fishing ships, and it's been the better approach. So Viper did a really good job there. I agree with what you said. Once Nikov saw the war galleys, he recognized there's no way I can do this. And plus, as Nilly was talking, it was just getting to be too much for Nikov. But that means we're going to see a game 3 here. It's 1-1. It was changed to a best of 3, guys. And the game is coming up. I encourage you guys to